So to introduce myself, I'm Mike Alcock. I'm Managing Director of Gomo Learning. What is Gomo? Now I know I recognise a lot of familiar names on the presentation today. I know a lot of you will know what Gomo is, but we've also got some new faces, so I'll go through an introduction to Gomo and just explain it to people who haven't seen it before. And I know a lot of you are here today to have a look at the new capabilities of Gomo version 2.2. So we'll focus on those later on. But Gomo is our multi-device e-learning authoring tool. And it's been designed from the ground up to create multi-device learning. In other words, learning that works on any device. So desktop, tablet, and smartphone. You build a course once in Gomo, and it automatically plays back on all of those devices. Gomo is built on four key pillars: content creation, customization, collaboration, and distribution. And I'll talk about all of those in a little bit more detail in a moment. So who uses Gomo? Well, it's used by all sorts of organizations, from one-man e-learning consultants up to some of the biggest corporations in the world. Some of those are on the screen now. Some of them we haven't updated this slide, but some of the latest customers that are using the Gomo product now are people like Nike, JP Morgan, Dunhill, and other global organizations like this. What does Gomo do that makes it different from traditional authoring tools? Well, quite a lot, obviously, we would say, but the main difference between Gomo and perhaps some of the legacy products that you're familiar with is that Gomo creates responsive and adaptive e-learning content, and it does that automatically. So what do we mean by that? Well, if I just pull this browser around the screen a little bit, I'll try and demonstrate that. The presentation you're looking at on the screen now, that's got a couple of computer screens on, is actually a piece of Gomo content. And as I shrink the browser down, the content starts to respond to changing browser conditions. When the images get too small to be useful on that particular display, Gomo automatically stacks them vertically. And what we're looking at now is something that's very similar to a smartphone, but the content that was usable on my desktop computer and on my iPad, for example, is usable on my smartphone in the traditional orientation that I tend to hold my smartphone, so in portrait mode. If you look at the menus at the bottom there, they're also adaptive and responsive. When there's enough room for text, they change from icons to text. So that's what we mean by responsive e-learning content. If I can show you that on a different device, I'll show you this on my iPad, assuming I can get to the right window. I've got so many of them open. Here we go. So this is Gomo content running on my iPad. Clearly you won't be able to see it just now, but I'm using swipe gestures to navigate between the pages, so they're all supported. If I turn the device around in my hand, the content adapts and responds automatically. So it doesn't matter what orientation I hold the device. It also doesn't matter what the screen size is. There are no screen size settings in Gomo. You don't have to think about breakpoints. You don't have to think about, is it Android, is it iOS? You just build your courses, and the Gomo player figures all of that out for you. If you look at this interaction that's on the screen now, you can see in landscape mode, it's a click and reveal. If I turn the iPad round, the display adapts. It realizes there's enough space now for the full width image and the text, and I've got vertical scroll. Oops, and my iPad's just disconnected, sorry. So hopefully that's given you an idea of how the Gomo player is adaptive and responsive. Gomo is a cloud-based product. It's a software as a service application. And what this means is you can work from anywhere with just an internet connection. There's nothing to download and there's nothing to install. You literally log in through your web browser and that can be on whatever device you normally work on, your Mac or your PC, Chrome, Safari, it really doesn't matter. You log in through your web browser and you're connected, and you can start working in Gomo straight away. The other beauty of Gomo being in the cloud is you're in a collaborative e-learning workspace. You can work together. So team-based development, which can often be very difficult on desktop programs, is available for all of your users. You can work together, you can share resources, you can share your themes, your look and feel, and all of the things you need to do. You can even work on the same course at the same time. Moving on, content creation in Gomo, we've tried to make it as easy as possible, and we do this through a drag and drop interface within a web browser. I'll be demonstrating this in a moment, but hopefully you get a feel for how quick and easy it is to put content together with Gomo. A really powerful feature of Gomo is customization. With Gomo, we have a concept called themes, and themes control the look and feel of your courses. In order to change the look and feel of a course, you don't have to go in and open up every single page and change the backgrounds, the font, or the text. You just go to your themes. You change your theme settings. You can then apply them to as many of your courses as you need. So your themes control the look and feel, and they're infinitely customizable. I'll show you that later on. You can change the color, the text, the fonts, everything, the screen backgrounds, and so forth. Collaboration, I mentioned that Gomo's in the cloud, so you can work together wherever you are in the world from a web browser, so I can work as easily with someone sat next to me as I can with someone on the next continent. And then distribution. Gomo distributes adaptive and responsive HTML5 content, and it does that automatically. It's a single click to publish your course. It zips it up, it makes it SCORM ready, and it's ready to drop into your learning management system. And it will work across all your devices. Okay, so that's the theory. Let's go and have a look at Gomo in practice. And we'll go to this page here. So now I'm in Gomo. I'm logged in as myself, there in the top right. And this is the view I get as a user of Gomo. I've obviously been working on quite a few projects, so I've got access to all the projects that you can see on the page here. If I was a brand new user, I'd just have this button over here, create a new project. So let's do that, and we'll build a project for you today just to give you an idea of how Gomo runs. So let's give the project a name. It's currently 1511 in the UK. Give it a description. And I can choose where my resources are going to be stored that are attached to this project. The next step is to choose the theme, and this is where we can control the look and feel of the courses. So here's some of the standard themes that ship with Gomo. In this case, I'm going to select the night sky theme. But further down here, you can see some of the custom themes, and we do have a custom theme development service if you needed something that was way outside the typical sorts of themes that ship with Gomo, but most customers can get away just using the standard themes from Gomo and then customizing those as required. I'm now going to choose what my students are going to get in this course, so I'll give them a menu, a help system, I'll give them the glossary, an exit button, a progress bar, and a table of contents. All of these decisions that I'm making now as I go through are infinitely changeable, so I haven't just fixed the course to this theme. If I want to change the theme later on, I can do. But for now, I'll save that project, and that last step there was where I could choose who else within my team could work on this project with me. So because we're in a team-based environment, we can share the workload, and I can allow colleagues to work with me on these projects. So there's my course. It's already online. It's on my e-learning server, and any of those colleagues who wanted to that I'd assigned to this project could now start working on it with me. For those of you familiar with the previous version of Gomo, you'll see a slight difference here. We've got header and footer navigation bars. So there's a new header navigation. We always had a footer navigation, but you can now select your extras to go into the footer bar. and if you want to, you can choose what else you want to go into the header bar, like so. So the header bar and the footer bar give you a much more sort of app-like feel to your courses, especially when they're running on smartphones and tablets. Let's open a topic by clicking on it, and I can also, although I'm in a standard web browser here, there's lots of right-click settings within Gomo. So for this particular course, I might not want that to be called topic 1. I'll just have it called Gomo for my Gomo topic. We also have the concept of production status within Gomo. So I can tell my colleagues that this particular topic, which is locked by me now because I'm working on it, is in development or finished or complete or ready for review and so forth. I'll open the menu later. Okay, so this is the main authoring interface. And to explain what's going on here, this is the main place where you'll build your content out. On the left-hand side is the navigator. We have all the different screens that we can jump to within the course. If I click on the assets panel, you'll see all of the assets that I can drag onto the page. So my video, audio, my presentational assets, and my quiz questions. In the middle of the screen is the screen layout, effectively my preview area. And this is where I drag my content around to assemble the screen content. On the right-hand side is the properties panel, and that's dynamic. So whatever I select on the screen, it will change to reflect whatever I've got selected. Now, the preview area in the middle of the screen, you might think, well, this looks sort of similar to quite a lot of authoring tools, but there are some significant differences. If I select on this content block in the middle here, you'll see on the right-hand side I've got this set as a 2-column layout, and this is how we handle the multi-device capabilities within Gomo. On a desktop and a tablet display, this course will look pretty much like what we're seeing on the screen here. But on a smartphone, it's going to stack this right-hand text block below this left-hand text block, and it will shrink this top one down to the width of the smartphone. So then this is how we can guarantee that our content's usable across all devices. So let's start making some content. Let's just start building this topic. Double-clicking on most items will open up the dialog boxes. So we'll call this page the Gomo overview. I've got a text box here, and I can just go and grab some text off the Gomo website. Whoops. Just cut and paste that so that we've got some useful text in our first dialog box, like so. On the right-hand side, I think I'll change from text, so I'll delete that asset, and I'll drop in a Gomo logo, so we'll just drag in a static image. Double-click on that. I've got a list view at the moment, and I can go for a thumbnail view, and I'll pick the Gomo Learning logo. One of the new features in Gomo 2.2 is the addition of animations. So if I scroll down on the right-hand side, I can select an animation for any asset. So for this particular picture of Gomo, I'll choose Fade In. I'll give it a delay of, I don't know, 2 seconds and a duration of, that's too far, 4 seconds. And you can do that with all of your assets. So you're starting to get a bit of control over time within your Gomo projects. So that's the first screen for this particular presentation. I'm now going to add a new screen, and I'll add a screen from a template. And in this case, I'm going to do an interactive map. So I'll bring in a hotspot image asset like so. Go and find a world map graphic to drop in there. Again, just go to my media inspector, scroll down, there's a map of the world. And what's happening here, well, because I've created a hotspot screen, Gomo's automatically created all of the other elements that I need here. So it's created me 3 subscreens, so that when I click around on this map, I can reveal different items. So let's have a look at subscreen 1. It's called hotspot item 1, so we'll call this one Brighton. I'll edit the text. I'll make the text about Brighton. And then I'll drag onto this page another graphic, like so. Double-click that, and I should have a picture of Brighton Pier. And then the second hotspot item will make New York, for the New York office. Again, just edit the text, call it New York. And again, we'll just stick an image of New York in, just so it looks a little bit prettier. So down here, I think I've got a picture of Brooklyn Bridge or Times Square. We'll take Times Square, right, so. Going back to the interactive page, if I double click on the map, this is where I can configure the hotspots. So I'll drag that one out of the way. I'm not using that one just for now. Just drag it over to Australia. I set up hotspot 1 for the UK, which has miraculously grown in size to be bigger than the US, but never mind. And number 2 was New York, like so. If I click onto number 1, I can set the actions, and it's set by default to show subscreen, and it's going to show the Brighton subscreen. But with Gomo, we get lots of actions, so if you want to create non-linear content, you can do so. I could choose that subscreen to go off to an external web link. I could link to a group resource, such as a PDF. I could link to another screen, or I could set an accessibility state, change an image, set a variable. Got lots of choices on action types within Gomo. But I'll say I'm happy with that one. Perhaps on the Brighton page, I'll just add one of the new features from Gomo 2.2. We'll say visit our website. And if I double click on the word website, like so, we've now got inline actions for text. Oops, sorry, I'm having a bit of trouble with my mouse here. Let me apply that one and do it again. Do apologise. Let's see if I can get that going. We'll say add an action on that text for an external web link, and in this case I'll go to the Visit Brighton website. So in the past you would have had to stick a button in there. We can now apply inline actions to text. Go back to the navigator and let's add a third screen into this course that we're working on. Again, I'll add a screen from a template. In this case, I'm going to perhaps drop in a carousel. So I'll just use this one to start with, but I'll remove the audio. I don't want audio on this page. And let's bring in a carousel from the assets list. I'll call this screen our customers. Oops, typo again. Our customers. Like so. And in the carousel, I'll bring in some customer images. So let's have Nike, Deloitte, and Dunhill. I'll just put some text against each of those. So Nike, Deloitte, and Dunhill. Like so. On the right hand side, I'll just leave that as Lips and More and text for the moment, and then finally maybe one more screen, and we'll add a screen from a template again, and on this screen I'll add a little quiz. We'll just do a basic multiple choice question like so. So the question will be, where is our head office? Question mark, and then for the answer, 3 options. So we'll say New York, we'll say Brighton, which is going to be the correct answer, and option 3 we'll say London. So I'll set Brighton as the correct answer, I'll set the feedback to be correct and the other feedback to be incorrect. We'll stick an image on this side just to make the screen a little bit more interesting. And again, we've got some reveals here. So the correct text is currently like this. So we could just change the feedback for the student to whatever we want it to be per correct or incorrect answer, like so. And again, I could drop in a graphic here to show them champagne cork popping or that kind of thing. So I've now created my course with 4 screens and a variety of different interactive assets. We'll just save those, and I'll very quickly just go back. In fact, I've got a new button here where I can jump to different topics. So here's the main menu for this course, so let's just call it Welcome to Gomo. Like so. Let's just put some Gomo text in, so I'll just go to our website, just grab a bit of text, like so. And then I've got my 3 buttons, and the label can be Gomo, for example. And again, you just control the buttons through the Actions panel, and it's going to link to the first topic. So I can save those changes, and we can then preview the course. And one of the beautiful things about Gomo is the ability to preview the course within the Gomo portal. So if I go to Preview Project now, the Gomo project viewer will fire up, and we'll be able to look at that course that I've just built. And here it is. This is how it's going to look to a desktop user. There's the first of my buttons. I didn't get a chance to rename topics 2 or 3. Welcome to Gomo. Let's click into the Gomo page. Gomo overview, there's our text, and then there's the Gomo logo, which is fading in 2 seconds later. So just using some of the animation features. On the next screen, I made an interactive world map where I dropped in the various subscreens for Brighton and Times Square in New York. On the next screen, I dropped in my carousel with my customer logos in there. And on the final screen, I asked where our head office is. Let's say Brighton, and there's my well done, correct feedback. Now, I previewed this course on a desktop, but with Gomo, I can preview it across any device. So I can say, well, that course is looking good on my desktop display. How's it looking on an iPad or a tablet? And again, I can test that course out, like so. And then I can even go and have a look at it on a smartphone. Gomo, and we'll wait for the logo to fade in like so. Screen title, my carousel, and my quiz question. You can see there the items stacking vertically across the smartphone page. The new feature now within Gomo is to preview your courses in both in landscape and portrait across smartphone and tablet. So if you think your tablet users might walk around a retail environment with them in this sort of position, you've got the option to preview your courses. So all devices in all orientations. So let's go back to landscape, because that's the one I prefer. New feature for Gomo 2.2 you might have spotted is the table of contents, which is dynamically generated by the structure of the course. So a really nice little slide out option there to help you with the navigation throughout the course. So we started that course, what did I call it? It was 15:11, it's 15:27, so we've been there 15 minutes and built an entire course there with some of those great new features in. Some of the other things that you can do within Gomo, I mentioned at the beginning that we control the look and feel of courses through the use of themes. So if I go to settings and themes, I'm currently using the night sky theme on this course. I could use any of these other themes and just apply it, and the course will be rebranded based on the values of these new themes. However, if this theme is pretty close to what I'm looking for, I can choose to customize my theme settings. And this is where I can make minor changes to the themes, and you're able to save your themes out, so you can make your own themes in here. So just looking at this page here, this is the only time we specify any size is where you might want to control the width of the course on a desktop display. This particular theme is using 100% of the browser, but you could set pixels, maybe 1024 if you know you've got a fixed display. And again, on a desktop you can control your content area. For tablets and smartphones, Gomo automatically uses 100% of the available screen size. So the beauty of that is you don't have to worry about breakpoints. You don't have to tell Gomo how big your tablet is, how big your iPad is, which iPhone version you're using, whether it's an Android device. Gomo works it all out. The player auto-senses the device and fills the device automatically. Here with the primary colors in that theme, we saw there's a lot of green and a lot of orange. We got our dynamic interactive color pickers. So if we want to change the primary colors within the themes, we can do that. Same with the secondary color. I can choose the screen background. So we were using the Night Stars background, but if I wanted a different background within that theme, then I could just pick one from the list that's available there. In terms of screen backgrounds, I can overwrite Night Stars on a screen-by-screen basis. So if you wanted to mix up your course and see it, you can do. And I've then got color choices for things like content areas, subscreens, and content columns. And then finally down at the bottom, we've got our fonts. And again, I can choose the font I want in here. But what happens with Gomo is that anybody using this theme, if they use a title on a page, it will come out. Should be coming out in BP Replay. It will come out in BP Replay, 30 point, bold, and in this shade of dark green. And this is really great for ensuring design consistency. Once you've decided on your perfect theme, you can save it and then tell everybody else to use that theme through their projects, and you're going to get really good design consistency. Your courses will all have your preferred look and feel, and they'll have your preferred fonts, colors, and everything. And of course, if you then decide to change, all you've got to do is modify the theme. You don't have to open up 100 courses and possibly 100 screens per course and go through and change it screen by screen by screen. I can control the look and feel of the buttons in Gomo that students click on. I can control the feel of the header navigation bar, the footer navigation bar, and I can even control things like the swipe direction. So we're currently set to horizontal slide on touchscreen devices. We could go for vertical slide. Okay, last couple of things to show you, and then I'll go through the other features in Gomo 2.1 that I haven't had a chance to show you yet. Because Gomo is an online service, you'll need to get your content up there, so we have a shared content area. You can build your own folder structures within here and store all of your pictures, sounds, videos, animations, etc. Within here. And we've got a really nice upload capability, so I can either browse out to my operating system, or if I prefer, if I just go for my pictures library, like so, and I can see some images that I want to use in this course. Let's grab my monkeys over there, grab a couple. I can just drag them into Gomo and upload. So if you've got a big repository of images, videos, audios, etc., you can do a mass upload to Gomo when you first start using it, so that you've got everything available within the Gomo portal immediately for you to use within your courses. Okay. Last couple of things then, if we go and have a look and just make sure I haven't missed out on the Gomo 2.2 features, and I'm sure Hugh will dig me in the ribs if there's anything I've missed out on. So the main new things in 2.2 were the slide out menu table of contents. That's available throughout your courses if you choose to switch it on. I've mentioned the headers and footers and shown you those, and you can control what items you have in the headers and footers, and also how they behave. Inline actions, I think I missed showing you that, but that was you can stick in web links now inside text and so forth. The new assets, I'm afraid I can't show you today because they're not on this particular server. We've got a drop-down list asset, a numerical input asset. So if you want to test your students' maths, you could put in model answers 2 + 2 =, and the correct answer is 4. We've got the advanced animation controls with delay and duration and a whole range of controls there. I'll just show you in the authoring panel on the right hand side here. We've got fade in, bounce, shake, flash, pulse, flip, whirl, etc., etc., sliding long, sliding short, perspective. So all the sorts of controls you'd really want to be able to apply to your assets. I showed you previewing orientation options in preview for the tablet and smartphone mode, so you can now test your course on all devices inside Gomo. This saves you hours and hours because you don't have to deploy content to your device to see it. And finally, sharing is caring. We've now got a share course button, and if I just go back to that project I just developed, which was 1511, I think. If we look under the Actions panel now, we can share a project. So this is new. I'm going to make this link active, and I'm going to copy it. And then, if I just go to my email and send myself a link to my iPad, hopefully we'll see that on my iPad. Last couple of things to show you then, and then we'll take a look at the questions, and hopefully Hugh can point me to any interesting ones that we can share with the audience. Everything you need to know about Gomo should be available on our website. The question we often get is, how does the pricing work? So the pricing page is here. You can obviously explore it yourselves after the webinar. But in sterling, Gomo starts at £49 a month for a single user. Single user gets one user login, unlimited projects, and a gigabyte of storage and access to the email, ticketing and knowledge-based support. A small team is $148 a month, and that's 4 users, unlimited projects, and 4 gigabytes. For both of those plans you can play annually, and you'll get 12 months for the price of 10. If you're a bigger organization, if you're looking for a lot more licenses, storage or custom themes and all that sort of stuff, then please talk to me or your local Gomo reseller about Enterprise Edition, where we'll configure a package very specifically for you. Just to see those prices in US dollars, because there's a lot of people in from North America today. That's $89 a month for the personal plan, $249 a month for the 4-user small team. And again, talk to us. And I think we've got a few people in who are in euro currencies, so it's 59 euros a month, 179 a month, and contact us again. Let me just see if I can get my iPad thing to work. Share that course. Oh, there it is. Let's have a look. So, yep, here we go. So here's the course that I just built. I shared that link with myself, and now you can see it on my iPad. Of course, I could have just previewed it within Gomo, but if I wanted to send this to a non-Gomo user to let them have a look at it, then I can share that course using my swipe gestures here as I swipe through the customer logos, and there's all my feedback. And again, fully responsive and adaptive, and my table of contents is there to take me into the different topics. And that's it. It's that quick and easy to build highly interactive e-learning with Gomo that runs on any device in adaptive and responsive HTML5. So we're coming towards the end of the presentation. Hugh, are there some interesting questions that might be worth sharing the responses to with the rest of the people that might not have got the answers that you've put individually?
Hi, Mike. We've had a question here about whether you could show the different types of animations again, just to show the menu list of the animations.
Certainly, yeah. Just let me go to my one of my multi-million browsers here. So in the authoring panel, The animation types are on the right-hand side. So I won't read them all, but fade in, bounce, pulse, ta-da. I haven't played with all these yet, Hugh. I don't know if you have. A variety of flips, a swoop, a whirl, a variety of bounces, some slide-ins, and some perspectives. Loads and loads to play with there. And as you can see, just below the animation control, you get your sliders, both for a delay and a duration. So if you want students to read the text paragraph and you think that'll take 10 seconds, you might leave that on for 10 seconds before you then introduce the video or the quiz or whatever else the next activity is on the page. Any others, Hugh?
Yeah, Mike, we're just having a few questions coming in here. Does Gomo do any hosting? Maybe you would be able to share something about that.
Sure. As you can see today, we were able to share the link to the course. So Gomo is a cloud-based service, and we shared the link, and that's really just for the purposes of review at the moment. However, what we are planning to offer in the new year is a hosting and analytics package. So you will actually be able to leave your Gomo courses on the Gomo server and share them out to students, colleagues, Facebook, Twitter, however you might want to do it. Now, I can't really say too much more than that. That's going to be in the Gomo 3 release in January, but yes, we will be offering that kind of service very soon. So just to give you an idea on how Gomo works in terms of sort of timelines and releases, Gomo 2.0 was our brand new release, and that came out on the 2nd of April this year. 2.1 was a sort of major improvement, so we try and do them quarterly. So it was July, August time that Gomo 2.1 came out, and a lot of new features in 2.1. 2.2 is the version I've been previewing today. That's in final beta. So this is our third major release, and that should be shipping at the end of next week. All being well, it's software, and we may hit something that we're not expecting, but outside of that, we're expecting this to go live. And if you're an existing Gomo customer, you will just log in on, we'll email you all to let you know it's coming. Your courses won't change at all, but when you log in, you'll see all of the new functionality of 2.2 at some point next week. And then Gomo 3, which will bring in hosting and lots of other goodies as well, is scheduled for the end of January next year. And then again, quarterly after that, and we'll go 3.1, 3.2, etc., etc. So I hope that answers that question.
Mike, a couple more questions, quite a few coming through here.
Yeah, sure.
One question in terms of the storage space is for the small teams that it includes 4 gigabytes of storage. Is this for all users? Any courses in the authoring portal?
Yes, so the 4 gigabytes is shared between the 4 logins. So, if you were the University of Northumbria, I'll just pick a name out of the hat, one of our customers, they're using Gomo. They've actually got the small teams package, but they've gone for 8 users. So they've got 8 users, and they're sharing 4 gigabytes between them. However, once you've subscribed to Gomo, you can increase your storage. So you get access to a control panel, and if you're getting near to your limits and you've got a lot of video in and you might need a little bit more storage, you can add to your storage and increment your storage as appropriate. Also, it's worth noting that if you are using video, I'll just show you here actually on this particular course. If you're a video user, you don't have to store all of your videos inside the Gomo portal. So we have an iframe asset which allows you to embed links to online storage systems like YouTube and Vimeo and so on. So if you look at the screen now, this page here is the Michael Jackson Thriller video, and that's being pulled directly from YouTube. So if you've got videos hosted, you don't have to recreate all that storage inside Gomo. you can link out to third-party hosting services. And if you're doing that, it's very unlikely that you would get close to your 4 gigabyte allowance.
Mike, another question about whether it's possible to move from small teams to enterprise without losing content.
Yes, I mean, you can upgrade all of the plans. So we've had one customer this week, they've been with us for about 3 or 4 months, and it's a small company, not a huge organization. They started off with a personal plan, and they've decided to upgrade it to small teams. So yes, you can go from personal to small team to enterprise, and the only thing that changes is the number of users, the amount of storage, and all of that sort of good stuff.
And another question that's come in here from Kate Robinson about video, specifically whether you can pause video and overlay on video so that you can have a question appearing as an overlay on the video. And maybe if I could just pick up on that, that you can't directly put a question on a video. What we do support is the use of closed captioning on video, so you can upload a VTT file, the standard file format for closed captioning, and then have text appear at timed intervals as the video plays. So again, a way to be able to provide greater accessibility for the courses that you create in Gomo.
Thanks, Hugh. It's just reminded me actually of one other thing that I didn't point out. It was a 2.1 feature, but if you're looking on the screen now, one of the features that came in 2.1 was the concept of display conditions, and these allow you to show different things depending on what you're viewing your course on. So you can see here, that tells me I'm displaying this on a desktop or a laptop browser. So the player understands the device and it shows the appropriate content to me. And within Gomo, I can set up what I want to display on a desktop, a tablet, and a smartphone, and that can be really powerful if you've got a fabulous world map, for example, that works really well on desktop and tablet, and you can click around and see all the offices around the world, all that sort of good stuff. On a smartphone in portrait mode, it might be close to useless because it will by default have shrunk it down, and you'll have very small hit areas and so on. So what you can choose to do with Gomo is say, well, actually on a smartphone, I want to replace that big rectangular world map with a very long scrolling world map, and we'll handle it that way on the smartphone, and that's without having to create a separate version of the course. So display conditions let you do that.
Great. And just another one about storage, Mike,
Yep.
about whether the 4 gigabytes is for all the uploaded resources or the combination of the uploaded resources and the space used for the rest of the course, and whether the courses are stored indefinitely. Those both are questions from Gina.
Hi, Gina. So the storage is for all of the uploaded assets. Now, that doesn't get duplicated when you build a course because the course is just calling the assets. So if you've got a 50 megabyte video and then you put it into a course, you're still only using 50 megabytes of your storage. There is some additional storage in the course architecture, if you like, the player and all of that sort of good stuff, but it's not significant, certainly not in relation to video. Do we store content indefinitely? We can't really do that. We could have somebody subscribe and put 4 gigabytes of stuff into a course and then unsubscribe a month later, and we might never see them again. So we're not going to store content indefinitely. Normally we'd commit to storing it for at least 3 months. We're still sort of feeling our way on this one, so I do apologize if I'm a little bit vague. But we'd normally store it for at least 3 months, and then if you resubscribe within that time, you'll get your content back. But you can, of course, if you use Gomo for a while, you can publish your content out. So you've still got the courses that you've created, but we can't just financially offer an indefinite storage capability because it costs us money to manage the storage and so on. But if you took a break and then came back within 3 months, your content would be there.
Mike, a follow-up question from Kate about video and video overlays.
Yep.
That does it mean that you can pause the video at the caption point and then have the student do the task before continuing to play? If I could just follow on with that one, Kate.
Yep.
It's not actually possible to sort of detect the positioning of the video, so to trigger other things. That the video can play. You can use the obviously the text overlays in terms of the closed captioning. You can also use the new animation effects to time things to happen on the screen. So, for example, as the video is playing, you could make text and images appear, but it's not actually possible to say after 5 seconds pause the video, wait for the learner to do something. Really, that would be handled by actually just editing up the video, so you show the learner a video sequence, and then you would get them to do a task, and then show them another part of the video sequence. I hope that answers your question, but do come back to us and we could have a direct one-to-one discussion about that as well.
Yes, I was at the DevLearn exhibition and conference last week, and I did see an interesting video-based product. And for the life of me, I can't remember it now, but I'm sure I could find it from my notes from the conference. But I saw a product where you could overlay content onto videos. I'm not sure if you could do questions. You may have been able to. I wouldn't like to commit myself. But having said that, I would expect that those sorts of videos could be put onto YouTube and then embedded into a Gomo course. So whilst Gomo wouldn't give you that level of video interactivity, there are products out there that try and do that now. Not certain, 100% certain that it would work, not certain you can get them out of their platform and onto YouTube and so forth, but if you want to address a question to myself and Hugh after the event, I'll try and dig that one out for you.
Mike, another question about do we offer any formal training to new members' teams? Again, that's from Gina.
Yes, we do. Probably, I think, about, what do you reckon, Hugh, 80 to 90% of users are self-taught? I think that's
yes, probably that.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, yes. There is a whole wealth of training materials, videos, FAQs, tutorials, user guides on the Gomo website. If you go onto the website and look at the support pages, you'll see all the information there. So we have a lot of customers who will teach themselves and learn how to use Gomo using these resources here. And we've tried to make Gomo hopefully as as easy and as intuitive as possible, so that it's the kind of tool that you can teach yourself to learn. However, quite a number of our customers have asked us for formal training, and Hugh, who's been helping out on this call, he looks after all of that. So we do offer it, and that could either be face-to-face, but more popular seems to be webinar training. And again, we're happy to tailor that to how you want to do it. So for Nike, I think Hugh's doing 4 2-hour webinars. For one of the banks, I think it was 6 1-hour sessions. Really tailored to suit yourselves. Any more, Hugh?
Mike, the only other one, I think another one earlier from Kate about whether the animations apply to the video asset as well.
I believe
which is something that I haven't actually tried yet. The very new features.
Well, I'll tell you what, Hugh, I'll try it now, and let's see. So if I drop the video player onto the right-hand side of the screen there, video player, scroll down, I can display the animations for it. Yes, I think that animations apply to everything in Gomo, so I think whatever you drop on the page, you can animate it.
Right, and just a follow-up question from Gina about the training. Is there a charge for the formal training?
Yes, there is. So the charge for it's effectively a day's worth of webinar training, but it's usually spread out. So it's, like I say, 6 1 hours or 8 2 hours. It's 2,000 in sterling, and you need to convert it to your local currency for that. but that's the cost for that. All right, we've got 5 minutes more. Still good number of people on the webinar, so thanks for sticking with us. Appreciate it. If you have any final questions for myself or Hugh, we'll do our best to answer. I am going to just type my email address. I think you all have it anyway, because I'm sure it's on all the invitation emails, into the chat box. So if there's follow-up questions or you need anything else, then you'll be able to do that with myself or Hugh. I've also, this webinar is still recording, and as soon as it's finished we will try and upload it so that you'll get a follow-up email if you want to look at it again or share it with any of your colleagues. Are you seeing any more pressing issues on the question box there?
Just another one, Mike, about again from Gina, about whether any elements, assets can be layered. So I suppose we're looking at the use of background imagery as opposed to things which are appearing on top in the content areas.
Yeah, the content has to sit. We can't layer contents. There's no concept. So there's no concept of a Z depth with content. So we can't overlay text on top of a picture, for example. And that might sound like, well, that should be fairly easy, shouldn't it? But the issue we have is that we're dealing with a tool that's not like PowerPoint where you've got a fixed layout 1024 by 768. We're dealing with multi-device delivery, and we have to make sure that everything adapts and responds when you turn the device around in your hand, when the screen size is different. So we have limits and constraints about how far we can go there. So you know, you would probably do that externally in Photoshop or something before bringing it into Gomo. But yes, clearly you can put text below video, underneath the video, and of course you've got the layering with the content elements sit on top of screens, backgrounds and columns and subcolumns. So you can do those sorts of things. You can change the backgrounds and so on. You have a degree of it, but it's not the same as what you might be able to do in something like PowerPoint.
And Mike, just a question coming in here from Pete about to remind him how a finished course gets into my LMS. I'll post the link to the knowledge base article, but if you could just point out the process.
So if I go back to the projects page, here's all my projects. In fact, there's 1511. That's the one we started about 40 minutes ago. Right click and publish. That will run the can't publish that one because I'm still editing it. So let me just go and find something I did earlier. So let's publish this one. And I've also okay. I've been editing all these projects, but basically right-click Pete, hit the publish. It'll run the publish process, and then it will bring up a download dialog box, and in the bottom left of your screen, you'll get a zip file downloading to your download folder. That zip file contains everything that your SCORM LMS needs to play back that course. So you then take that, and whatever the normal mechanism is for uploading the course to your LMS, you'll be able to do that as you would with any other e-learning authoring tool. So it's literally right-click and publish, so 2 clicks, and there's no big menu of settings. You don't have a big list of devices, screen sizes. You don't have to worry about any of that because Gomo takes care of it automatically.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I'm not seeing any other questions. Right, we have another question here from Veronica. When you publish, is the resulting file independent of the cloud platform?
Yes, it is. So it's self-contained and contains everything it needs to play back either in a SCORM LMS, or if you just want to hang it on your website with index.htm, hang it on the intranet, then yes, it's totally self-contained. It doesn't have to go back to the Gomo server to get anything to be able to play itself.
Thanks, Mike. Just another one that's just come in here
Yep.
from Paul Schneider, saying, well, what are the page settings for navigation that we could see on the right-hand side? So
Oh, yeah.
that's the configure, tracking, and navigation, I think,
Yes.
there.
So if I click on that configure box, you'll see the default screen navigation action. So do you want the next and back buttons shown? What's the label that's going to be on them, next and back? And what's the action? So the default action for the next button is clearly go to the next page, and the back button goes to the previous page. But you might say, if you're on the last page of a topic, you might want to overwrite that. You might say, well, actually, on the last page, if they click the next button, I'll go back to the main menu, for example. So you can also set screens as a final screen in the course if you want to, and you can also choose whether you want the extras. So the default extras, glossary, help, and exit, you've basically set those up in the course wizard. But if you're on the final quiz, you might want to just switch all of those off. Maybe you don't want to distract your students from the final quiz with lots of interesting buttons that they might want to go and click on, so you can switch those on or off as well.
And Mike, another question from Kate about whether we have drag and drop in this version, or will it exist in future versions?
We don't have it in this version. It's complicated because of touch devices, so you've got to enable a pickup and so forth, which we're still working through within HTML5. So it doesn't exist in this version. However, we are looking at it, of course, because it would be a nice way to interact. So we've got a lot of the gestures we can support that you can do on your iPad as if you're inside an app. Drag and drop's not there yet, but it's something we're working on.
Mike, if I could just add there as well that the kind of thing that we've been working on developing is more to do with matching pairs, so selecting a sort of a target and a subject and joining things together. That seems to work more effectively in terms of a touch interface across all devices from smartphone to tablet, and then also in terms of the desktop experience as well.
Cool. Okay. Right. Well, it's just coming up to 4 o'clock, and that's more or less the end of our time. So thanks to everybody who stayed on. There's a good proportion of people have stayed for the whole hour. So thank you for that. Appreciate your time. Yeah, thanks for looking at Gomo. I know some of you are existing customers, so we'll be updating you to 2.2 as soon as humanly possible. For those new people, I hope you like the look of what you've seen today. There's the free 21-day trial. It's available on the website if you want to go and have a play with Gomo. You can, of course, talk to myself, Hugh, and the rest of the Gomo team if you're interested in looking further, if you have any questions, if you'd like to talk to us about licenses, training, anything else to do with Gomo, general multi-device e-learning. We're delighted to talk to you. So just remains for me to say thanks everybody for your time. Thanks to Hugh for helping me out with all the questions, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon. Bye.